Yo, what's good? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in the world. Tyrus Bane, aka Definition, aka Snapzilla Gorilla, in the building or in the truck, whatever the fuck you want to say. Just wanted to do a quick live stream to talk about a story that went on in Chicago. Okay, I just want to talk about something that happened in Chicago that made me want to have this discussion to help hopefully serve as a wake-up call to us out here in the United States of America. And not even just the United States, all over the world, where we have governments trying to dictate our lives. So I want to discuss this. Kevin Black is in the building. Was good. So, what happened in Chicago that made me want to have this discussion, that made me want to have this talk with you guys? Well, apparently, a young woman was with her child. It was just her and her child in their home, and somebody was trying to break in and burglarize the place. All right, so someone was trying to actively break in while this mother and her child were at home. Okay, and what did she do? As a responsible, law-abiding citizen of the United States, city of Chicago. Now, when she called the police, she spoke to the dispatcher, right? And she's telling the dispatcher that her house is getting broke into. And what did the dispatcher say? Well, he said some things that you would not think a dispatcher would say to someone who is under distress. Someone, especially a woman who has a child under, that is in fear for her life because someone is breaking into her home. What did the dispatcher say? He said, well, I hope you're ready to defend yourself. Well, why would he say that? Why would he say that he hopes she's ready to defend herself? Well, apparently it's because he was not going to be able to get a unit out to her home for like 2 hours. Okay, so basically he said, we ain't got nobody to send to you right now. You're gonna have to wait 2 hours. Okay, now we're talking about a woman whose house is being broken into by characters. She has no idea what their intent is. She doesn't know what they're going to do. None of that. Damn, my bee just slammed into my windshield. So, a big ass bee, a goddamn indestructible bee. That motherfucker just bounced off the windshield and kept going. And I'm doing like 60 miles per hour. That's a tough ass bee. Anyway, so 2 hours. That is when she would see a unit come out to her home that being actively burglarized at that time. Okay, and what did he do? What did the dispatcher do? Well, how did you vote? How did if you voted for this, that, and the third? Well, they stopped funding the police, and that's why it's your fault. It's the voters' fault that you're being burglarized, and we won't have a unit out to you for 2 hours or so. Yeah, this is what we're dealing with. Now, this is Chicago, and in the state of Illinois, where Chicago is, they have a lot of laws against people's rights to keep and bear arms. Okay, basically, the right to keep and bear arms is essentially non-existent in the state of Illinois. Even though the Brewer decision came down and said, well, there's certain things you can't do in regards to issuing concealed carry permits, and then also, in order to get a firearm, you have to sign up and apply for an FOID, firearm owner's identification. So you can't even buy a firearm unless you get an identification for it, basically. So you got to get permission just to buy a firearm in the state of Illinois. So they have all these barriers in place that prevent you from having the right to keep and bear arms, that prevents your rights to keep and bear arms from being active. You understand what I'm saying? And this is the fundamental problem. This is a fundamental problem that we face, not just in the United States, but all over the world, where we have government, where we rely on government for so many things. We rely on government for our safety. We rely on government for our infrastructure. We rely on government for trade. We rely on government for our economy to be stable. And at every turn, our government fails. Our government fails, and what do they do to kind of like mask it or to camouflage it? Well, they blame it on other things. They blame it on pandemics. They blame it on wars. They blame it on this. They blame it on that. When really, everything that the government does is destructive. Okay? The government does not produce. They destroy. The government consumes and destroys. It consumes and destroys. Government cannot produce anything because it is not a self-sustainable entity. What is it? It is an entity that is sustained by the people it purports to oversee. So, but what does it need from these people that it oversees? Welcome to Georgia. What am I doing in Georgia? Huh? I just got out of Georgia. Now I'm back in Georgia. It's weird. But anyway, I'm supposed to be in Tennessee right now. I'm going to Nashville for an event. This will be my first time going to Nashville. Anyway, the government cannot do shit for you that it can't. So in order for government to do anything for you, it has to extract something from somewhere else because it cannot sustain itself. It cannot do anything without extracting wealth from other people. That is the fundamental understanding you must have of government. And hearing this story further solidified this fact in my mind because of something that somebody didn't do, right? This government could not send a police unit to this woman's house, her safe from a burglarizer, right? Because guess what? The police force was not funded, right? That tells you that in order for the government to do anything, it has to get something from somewhere else, right? Even though you're paying into it, and that's the funny thing about it. You're paying taxes. You're paying taxes that's supposed to go to this government body, to this police station, to this police department. But it doesn't have the funds to operate sufficiently enough to do its job, to do its duty, which, by the way, the Supreme Court said it's not the police's duty to serve and protect, just so y'all know. So now we are paying into a system that does not have to do anything for us, but yet we're being forced to pay for it. We're being extorted. If we don't pay, guess what? There are severe penalties to those individuals that do not succumb due to the shakedown racket. So we're being shaken down by entities that don't have to do shit for us at the end of the day. But they can do shit for people that don't pay into shit, that don't contribute to anything that any facet of society. And I'm talking about the migrants, because there's a migrant issue in Chicago. I'm talking about the criminal migrants in Chicago that is getting all this funding to get free. And that's why police departments and other public services aren't being funded, because funds are going to these criminal migrants that extract. Damn, motherfucking goddamn. I'm getting slammed with bugs, man. This windshield's getting just getting splattered. A lot of bugs flying around in Tennessee, ain't it? Or Georgia, apparently. So anyway, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? So if think about this, in the state of right, in the state of Illinois, you have to get permission just to buy a gun and keep it in your home. But a burglar can freely break into someone's home and have a whole 2 hours to do whatever the fuck they want in that person's home and get away. They have a whole 2 hours to operate before they get any police response. But we're forced to go through the painful process of obtaining an identification card to just to purchase a firearm. Why are we doing this? Just like in California, right? In California, same shit. You know, they got all these snatch and grabs, people getting robbed in broad daylight. You know what I'm saying? In California, and in Illinois, and in New York, in all these states, right? The same states, mind you, that have such stringent laws against carrying a firearm, against buying a firearm. Well, they're telling you that we're not going to protect you, right? But we're forcing you to give up your rights and your freedoms for our protection. We're going to, for your safety, you have to go through this stringent process to carry a firearm. And guess what? If you get caught carrying a firearm without a permit, oh shit. And it better not be in your front seat. It better not have the bullets with it. You better have the bullets in the magazine and the gun separated and locked in a box. If you're not doing all that and we catch you, oh, you might not go to get prison time, but you're gonna get fined. You're gonna have your right to keep and bear arms taken away from you. You know what I'm saying? Because you're a law-abiding citizen who just so happened to get caught carrying a firearm without a permit. Yeah, they're gonna make your life a living hell. But a criminal, right, that gets caught with a firearm, an illegal firearm that they're not supposed to have, right? They might not even get charged. They might not even get charged for it. They might not even give you for it. Okay, we caught you, blah, blah, blah. You see what I'm saying? And I know this happens because I know people in California that this has happened to. I know some street dudes. I know street dudes, they got caught with firearms multiple times and charges got dropped. Prosecution didn't even want to bother with it. No, it's the law-abiding citizens that get caught with firearms. The law-abiding citizens, clearly they're not law-abiding if they carry firearms, right? But you get what I'm saying. The regular folk, squares, straights, they get caught with firearms that they legally are registered to them. These firearms are legally registered to them. They bought a firearm. In California, you don't have to have a FOID to buy a firearm, but you do have to have a permit to carry it, right? To conceal carry it. And there is no open carry in the state of California, even with a permit. So there's that. But you get what I'm saying. If you are a square in California, you get caught with a firearm without a permit in your car or on your person, guess what? Oh, they're going to throw the book at you. Now, the book might not land you in prison, but guess what? Your rights are going to be stripped. And they expect you, right? They expect you to be fearful of prison time. They expect you to give more of a fuck than a street dude is, or a street motherfucker, because they know they fear jail. They know that you're not you ain't about that life. So they know that you're going to comply with everything. You're going to pay the fines. You're going to show up to all these dates. You're going to pay for this. You're going to pay for that. Oh, it's a big money grab for the government. They love catching squares and straights doing legal shit. They love it because they know, oh man, they gonna scare you straight. They're gonna get every dime out of you. But the street dude ain't gonna give a fuck. They're gonna go to jail for a year for little petty crimes, and they're gonna get 3 hots in the cot. They're gonna get right back out and do the same shit. Why do you think they're releasing these motherfuckers? Why do you think they're allowing them to do snatch and grabs? Why do you think that people are getting robbed in broad daylight? Because there are no real criminal penalties. But guess what? If you are a victim or would be victim of a snatch and grab in these states, if you are a victim or would-be victim of a robbery in broad daylight in one of these states, and you just so happen to pull out and blam a motherfucker because you tired, you ain't got time for this bullshit, and you don't have a permit, oh, guess what? Guess what? Oh, your ass is going down. They're gonna put you under the jail. They're gonna put you under the jail. You don't even belong there. But a motherfucker can rob you in broad daylight, and 9 times out of 10 they won't get caught. And if they do get caught, they're not gonna get the harsh penalties, or they can break in your house, take your shit, and if they get caught, nothing might happen. You call the police, they ain't gonna show up for 2 hours. Trail goes cold. But if you defend yourself with a firearm, if you defend yourself, if you empower yourself and use a firearm to defend yourself, oh, your ass is grass. Your ass is grass, pimpin'. And that's the whole point. This lady in Chicago whose house burglarized, and they told, why did you vote? You're getting robbed and ain't nobody gonna show up for 2 hours. Oh, well, you better be ready to defend yourself. But guess what? If she had a gun, use that gun to defend herself against that burglar, oh, her ass would have got locked up. Her child would have been taken away. You understand what I'm saying? Her child would have been taken away if she'd have done that. That's how backwards this system is. That motherfucker can burglarize and get away scot-free. But they know that the homeowner or the victim, they're not gonna run off. They're not gonna kill somebody in self-defense and run off. Especially if you're at your house. How you gonna do that, all right? No, unless you call somebody that you know that can do some cleanup. That might be an option. I'm just saying, if you live in one of those states, it might be an option for you to get to know some street motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? And utilize them if you ever need to do some cleanup. You understand what I'm saying? They can come through. They can do a Mike Ehrmantraut. You know what I'm saying? Like for Breaking Bad, when old girl OD'd and Jesse and Walter called Mike Ehrmantraut over there to clean that shit up. Well, he didn't clean it up. He left the body there, but he gave him a story to tell. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. It might do you good to get to know some street motherfuckers. And if you know some street motherfuckers that you won't fuck with like that, you might want to get them back on your good graces. You might want to, you know, because I'm going to tell you something. If you live in a state like California, if you live in a state like New York, if you what's up, Rachel Donaire, Dead Mike, Shy Killings in the building. I think who else did I see? It's Tricky Ricky up in here. Dead Mike says Mike got sloppy at the end because he did get sloppy at the end, but that's because Walter White destroys everything he touches. But you get what I'm saying. Walter White has a way of just, hey, you get what I'm saying? But the bottom line is this. If you live in a state where they have these no bail things and, you know, they have defund the police bullshit going on, which, listen, I'm not pro-cop. I'm not pro-pig. I'm actually anti-pig. But you get what I'm saying, right? They're giving you the illusion that these crimes are occurring and they're not doing anything about it because you won't fund them, right? But you get what I'm saying? If you live in these states where you know, get to know some street motherfuckers that can help you do some cleanup if push comes to shove. Because if these cops aren't going to respond for hours and they're telling you, hey, ain't nothing we can do about it, I mean, you might want to open up your options up. You might want to explore your horizon. You might want to do that. Because I'll be damned, right? Because I'm gonna tell y'all a secret. When I lived in California, the last 2 years, look, I tried to get a permit, right? And actually, I had some guy that was going to help me get a permit, because there are certain ways you can get a permit if you're doing security. That's how he got his. So in order to expedite his permit, he was able to do it because he had a business, and we were going to work together on some things. He was the meat guy. He was the rancher I was cool with out there. But California was getting way too crazy, so I had to leave. And it's goddamn, they damn near burned his ranch down, but that's a whole nother story. I think I talked about that in the video previously in the live stream. But when I was in California, I carried. You understand what I'm talking about? Without a goddamn permit. I carried because I lived in near Leimert Park in Los Angeles. And Leimert Park is like is one of the good neighborhoods, and that's close to a hood, right? So in California, how it works is you might have a nice little neighborhood, but outside on the outskirts surrounding it, you'll have gang territory. Well, that's what Leimert Park was. Well, the motherfuckers was starting to encroach on the nice. So there was a liquor store. There was a liquor store around the corner from the house. Every other day, a motherfucker was getting killed at that liquor store. Every other fucking day. Every other fucking day. And I would go to that liquor store sometime when I was still drinking alcohol and get some liquor. And I carried in that motherfucker. Because every other day I was seeing candlelight vigils and all this other shit. It was just like, and you hear the gunshots. Blah, 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 right? And another time, motherfucker got killed right across the street from my house. So I was carrying. Oh yeah. I had that thing on me. I had it in the car. I had it in the holster. You know what I'm saying? I had that motherfucker. When I would go ride my bike, I had that motherfucking shit. When I was doing my rucking lives, I had that thing on me. No one saw it, but I had that thing on me. You can see my knives. You know, I had a knuckle knife, and then I had my Bowie knife. You know, of course. But that thing was there too. You see what I'm talking about? Because I wasn't fucking around. Anyway. And so, you know, I know motherfuckers out there, if push came to shove and I had to lay a motherfucker down, I wasn't gonna call the police. No. Unless it was like on the street at an intersection and, you know, it's just out in the open, and what else can I do? I mean, there's probably gonna be a cop around the corner anyway. So in that instance, I would say, oh, well, you know, I had to crawl to the back, open up my my little gun safe, because I had a little gun safe in the back just in case. I had to open up my little gun safe and pull it out and handle it. Well, how were you able to do that while driving and blah, blah, blah? You know, shit, you can do a lot of shit when that adrenaline pumping. You know what I'm saying? I would come up with some reason. But anyway, oh, trust me, I had people I could call in California if I needed to, push came to shove, and I had to lay a motherfucker down, that could, you know, make something happen. You understand what I'm talking about? That could help me. But that's in a novel that I'm writing. It's all fiction, right? I'm making this shit up. This of course, I'm running a story by you guys to see if it makes sense for my next novel. You understand what I'm talking about? Anyway, so if you live in those types of states, it's a good idea to make certain types of relationships with certain types of people. Never look down on certain types of people, because all types of people are valuable in different ways. Jay with open eyes was good, Pippin. All kinds of people are useful in all kinds of ways, and you never want to overlook someone's usefulness. You understand? Just make sure you're useful as well. Make sure it's mutual. Make sure you have something, you know, valuable in your repertoire to help. Make sure that the relationships are reciprocal, because there's nothing wrong with making good use of people, as long as you can do the same for them in different ways, right? Because relationships are based on usury. right? That's just real talk. Now, when you start to abuse it, when you abuse the relationship, that's when it becomes a problem, right? So, but at the end of the day, I just want us to come to an understanding that, well, government, you can't really rely on government for anything. You can't rely on government for your safety. You can't rely on government for prosperity. You can't rely on government for anything, right? Let me ask y'all a question. Now, before I get to that, I'm telling you guys, if you live in those types of states where you can't open carry, you can't conceal carry unless you have permits, there's rifle bans and this ban and that ban, and they're damn near trying to make you only be able to have a revolver. These are the same states that police responses, especially in specific cities, are not that good. Police responses aren't going to be that good. And so, when seconds count, cops are going to be at least minutes away. Keep that in mind. Now, if you live in a state like I live in right now, the two states that I live in, Georgia, South Carolina, where it's concealed carry, open carry, by constitutional carry, you ain't really got to worry about it, because these are the states that have castle doctrines and stand your ground laws. Now, understand that stand your ground laws, there's a little shaky, depending on who's using the stand your ground law. Because certain people can stand your ground, and some people can't. It just depends. It depends on what's going on. It depends on what part of the state you're in. It depends on the justice, whatever is going on in the court. But at the end of the day, you can't worry about that when it comes to protection, and when it comes to the safety of you and your family. You can't worry about things like, well, this is a stand your ground state and a castle doctrine state, but are they going to allow it to apply to someone? You can't worry about that. That's something you got to worry about afterward. And it might do good if you live in these states, or if you have a concealed carry permit and you have to use it. You never know when you might have to use it. To need it, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So it might be a good idea to go with, there's an organization called USCCA. Now, I'm not sponsored by the USCCA, but I am a card-carrying member of the USCCA. So I am a platinum member of the USCCA. So if I ever had to use my shit to defend myself and my family, and my wife is on it too. So if I ever had the need to use it, and I'm worried about whether or not the stand your ground is going to apply to me because of the presence of melanin in my skin, well, I got USCCA to kind of help mitigate that. You know what I'm saying? Because they'll pay up to, like, depending on the level of your membership, you can get like $1 million, $2 million worth of defense. So, might be a good idea to get something like that cracking, right? Might be a good idea. You want to protect yourself, because yes, I'm an anarchist. Yes, indeed. Yes, I am a voluntarist. But at the end of the day, I know the society I live and operate in. I don't operate and live in a anarchistic voluntarist society. I have to move and shake and operate within this realm. So with that understanding, I understand that if I do have to use my shit in self-defense, I might have to go to court. You know what I'm saying? Like, I might be arrested initially. I might, all that type of shit. This is something that I understand. So I am a realist at the end of the day. I'm a realist before I am an anarchist. And the reality is, hell, this is the world we're living in right now. Understand, take a look at that story. Woman in Chicago calls, his house is getting burglarized, getting broken into. She calls the police to try to get a unit out. They tell her, "Nah, we ain't gonna be able to do it. Ain't better do it." You know, if you voted Democrat, this is your fault. You know, we just ain't. You got to be. Are you prepared to defend yourself? This happened. This happened. They at the end of the day, don't really give a shit. Let me tell you what the main function of the police are. The main function of the police is to they enforce policy. They enforce policy. They enforce the policy of the government of which they are a part. That's what they do. They're policy enforcers. And and it's not in their policy to make sure that you people are okay. That's not, they don't really give a hot shit. They don't give a shit. You know, it's unfortunate, but that's just the reality of it. That's why I always preach self-empowerment, self-sufficiency, right? That's why, I always preach community, a community of like-minded people that are equipped and ready to do whatever it takes for the people within the community. You put the people in the community first because you guys know that, hey, you are of like mind. Not hive mind, like mind. You understand? This is why this is important. This is why, I'm working on something. And, this is why I came out here. Y'all know. I've been telling y'all for years. At least since 2018, 2019. 22 Ronin was good. That my goal, I had many goals. One of them was to leave California and come to a state like Georgia or South Carolina, where I have a little bit more freedom to do the things that I want to do, and where there are more people that think along the same lines that I think. And I left California. And so now I'm working on that next step. Right? Gathering of the minds, a gathering of the like minds. Gathering of like minds of people who are ready to basically be self-sufficient, be self-sustainable. Land ownership, developing land, getting land with some people, developing that land, making it self-sufficient, making it regenerative, getting animals and all that type of shit, building community. Yeah. That's what we're working on right now. So, I'm on a mission, we are on a mission to find land. And hopefully by the end of this year, we'll have some land. That's the goal. The goal is by the end of this year, everybody's financial situation and being in order, we will have some land, that at least have some land staked out that we feel that we all can agree on. Land that is good to build on, because the use of that land, of course, we're going to need good grass. We're going to need a well. We're going to need somewhere a good place to bury a septic tank. You know what I'm saying? And of course, everything's going to be tied to the city sewage or whatever. But it's a good idea to have the septic tank in case that shit gets cut off and something happens, and you never know what's going to happen. So it's good to have your own source of water, and it's good to have. Oh, motherfucker, can you stay in your lane? Goddamn, shawty. All right, these motherfuckers tripping. Hold on, let me get from around these motherfuckers. Goddamn. Anyway, it's good to have your own water, your own source of water, your own way to get rid of waste. Might even be a good idea to get a little incinerator. That type of shit. I know my brother lives in Ohio, and his wife's family, they still burn their own trash. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't use city trash, right? They don't have a trash pickup. No, they burn their own trash, right? That's what they do. They burn their own trash. So, yeah, it's a good idea just to work on being self-sustainable, self-sufficient, right? And the you know, these other families, the men in these families, they are very they are very useful. You understand what I'm saying? They are skilled. Understand? They are skilled. They are skilled. They are skilled individuals. And the women are fit and energetic, and you know, they all have good energy about them. So these are the things that you want to look for with, you know what I'm saying? You don't necessarily want no dead weight, you know what I mean? And you know, we got other people that want to get in on it too. A young woman who doesn't have she has kids, but she ain't got no husband, but she's very efficient, right? She's very useful. You know what I'm saying? She has horses, and you know, she knows how to do all that shit. She has a chicken coop and all that. Like, we're talking about people that have some use, right? People that you know are going to carry their own weight. People you know are going to add value, right? And then of course there's another cat. I'm trying to get him interested, but he already has his own land. You know what I'm saying? But he's an ally at the very least. He lives about an hour south to me, or 45 minutes. He also has a farm with horses and all that stuff. He has his own land, and he just got himself some bees, right? He's got a bunch of bees, and now he's a beekeeper. And so these are people I'm fucking with, and I didn't have these type of people in California. They just don't exist. They don't exist in LA, especially. These motherfuckers. I don't have nobody out there that was in this type of time. But now I got people out here that are fucking horse farmers and, you know, beekeepers, and you know, just it's crazy. That's why I want to come out here. People that know how to fucking fish, people that know how to hunt and dress animals and all that stuff. Archers, you know what I'm saying? People that know archery. These are these people grew up in the country. These are country folk. They know how to do this type of shit. And essentially they have more basically they have something that I don't have right now. They have skills I don't have, and I have skills they don't have. Being that I'm an electrician, being that I'm a veteran. Now, one of the guys is a veteran, and his wife, they're both veterans. And so they're basically, one's from Alaska, the other one's from Chicago. So, you know, but that's what we bring. They bring that as well. They bring that military aspect. They bring that. I bring it as well. And I'm also an electrician. And they're real estate agents. You know, so everybody has their uses. But we're talking about fit individuals. We're talking about people that they don't drink, they don't smoke, they don't, you know what I'm saying? These are people who fucking, they eat clean. You know what I'm saying? These are healthy, spry, energetic people. They, you know what I'm saying? Like this, and this is, that's what you want to surround yourself with. You know? You want to surround yourself with people like that. When you get around them, the energy exchange is positive. I got a lot of people in LA that I grew up with, that I've known for decades, that the energy exchange is not always positive. But I don't get that with these people. I always get positive energy exchange. So that's what this shit is about. That's what this shit is about. And I know we all have the same things that we want to do. Like everything, like we discuss shit that we want to do. Like, what can we do with this land other than live on it, right? What can we do? Of course, we want to build a range on it. You know, we want to have our own little range. and other things going on. Obstacle course. You know, we want to have place for animals. You know, horses and goats and all that type of shit. Maybe a few cows, and you know, a little farm, maybe an orchard, right? An orchard for fruit trees, that type of shit. And these are things that very obtainable, very obtainable. You know, and me being 44 years old, I still feel like, hey, I got another 20, 30 years of putting in some good work, of being very physically fit. At least 20, 30 years. That's how I look at it. So I got a lot of time to learn. And it's a great idea to surround yourself with people that also have a lot that they want to learn, that are also energetic, that have a lot of life in them, a lot of good energy, but they understand. They woke. You understand? The real woke, not the woke that these motherfuckers use to insult people. The real woke, not, you know, the woke that somebody like ABL or Tim Pool or those types use to insult people. I don't know how wokeness got tied to the LGBT movement and all this, that, and the third. Like, I don't know how that got tied with that. That's not even what woke is. God damn, these goddamn bugs are slamming into my windshield. Let them tell it. Ain't no more bugs slamming the windshields no more. All the bugs are going due to global warming. Fuck out of here. All these trees, all this oxygen in the air, fuck out of here. So the point is, and the idea and the goal is to get to a place where you have minimal use and need for government. You get your own land and you have your own food there. If you have water, right? If you have a way to get rid of your waste, you got animals, chickens, you know, all that type of shit. And, you know, you have good relationships with people that you can trade with and all that other type of shit, trade goods and services. And, you know, what would you need government for? What do you need anything else for? Like, if you own your land outright and you have all these things on your land and you provide services to people outside that, you know, hey, if money becomes useless, you can go back to trade. I mean, what do we need the government for? Because we all know at some point that dollar's gonna crash. We know that. We all know at some point the U.S. dollar is gonna go kaputs. And if you don't have real tangible assets, you're not gonna be okay. You understand what I'm talking about? So the idea is not to become rich or wealthy in dollars you have. The idea is to become rich in how well you're able to sustain yourself for good periods of time. Get your land, get the well water, get a septic tank, you know, build a solar farm, right? Get a generator, you know what I'm saying? A biodiesel generator where you can easily get the fuel for it. These are things that and this shit doesn't have to be mad expensive. And that's why I said, if you get together with other families, you can pull resources together and make that shit happen. Pull your resources. You know, so I mean, these are things that you can do. These are things that are very, very doable. Go to a state where the land is not so expensive. Like here in Tennessee, you can get there's a shitload of land everywhere. And I'm almost convinced of my wife, maybe we might need to make the move to Tennessee. We might want to look into Tennessee where we want to get our land at because of the taxes, the tax situation. You know what I'm saying? And the land is cheap in Tennessee. The land is cheap. The land is cheap in Tennessee. You got constitutional carry, even though you got some fucking clowns in Tennessee trying to push these gun laws. It's not really working out, but they're trying to do it. But it is what it is. You know, you got good cheap land out here. And it's good land. Look at this shit. I mean, well, I can't show you. I'm not gonna do all that. But I mean, just all this beautiful land. And I done passed multiple land for sale signs. God damn, these bugs are fucking slamming. I mean, a lot of great land out here. And you know, that was gonna be my question, right? What happened to all the goddamn wild fruit trees? Does anybody see those anywhere? Like public on just land, public land where there's no owner? Where's all the wild fruit trees? Where's all the wild fruit trees? Where are they? Why is every goddamn fruit tree on somebody's land or in some where? Why? What's up? That's what government does. Government comes through and they want to control the food supply so badly that they somehow eradicate wild fruit trees. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't live on land where they have fruit trees, or if you know, like, has anybody in the United States, like, where you can just go to some place and there's like an orange grove that you don't have to pay somebody to get onto or pay somebody to pick the motherfuckers? Does anybody know that? Where can you go find some trees where you can just go freely pick some peaches? I haven't seen it. You know, what about yeah, you see a lot of wild blueberries. Yeah, there's a lot of wild blueberries, a lot of wild berries. But what about, y'all get what I'm saying? Y'all get what I'm asking? Anyway, that's just something that I was thinking about. Because I imagine that before, you know, the proliferation of government, there were probably a lot more wild fruit trees all over the country. All over the country, not just, you know, what happened to that? Where are all the wild fruit trees? Like, why can't I go to a spot and just go pick up some fruit trees? The government, you see that? The government has to they just have to have every control of everything. They just have to have it. They have to control every aspect of your life, of your society. Like, if you're not paying property tax for your land that you want to grow your own fruit trees on, they don't want you to do it. And there are a couple states where they don't have property tax. Like, but I mean, I get you. I think y'all get what I'm saying, man. That story about the woman in Chicago who called the police because somebody was breaking into her house, and them telling her, you're on your own for 2 hours. It just further solidified in my mind that we got to do better for ourselves. We have to. I mean, even me. I've been so busy. Look, some more land for sale. More land for sale. I've been so busy working and, you know, all this other shit. Yeah, I'm working toward a goal. I'm not working, you know, hopefully by next year, I'll not have to work for anybody else. Hopefully by next year, I'll be done with clocking in, clocking out. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, right now, I'm doing it because the money's good and that money's going towards something better, right? I'm using my money. I'm working to fund my business so that my business can fund my freedom. You understand what I'm saying? So, but it has to be the right time. So I got some things in the works right now that'll help you get me toward that goal. This summer, I'll be doing a creative writing class or workshop. I'll be doing creative writing workshop for about 6 weeks. I'll be doing that. And hopefully this fall, I'll start doing the my fitness program for homeschool kids. But it's not just going to be for homeschool kids. It's going to also be for their parents, because I feel like it's very important that you want your children to be fit, right? But you also have to be fit as well. You have to be fit parents to show your children the right way, the right example. More land for sale. You have to be the best example of your children. You have to be fit as well. Like, yeah, it's okay to drop your children off for them to get a good workout in, but it's more encouraging for your children if they see you out there getting it in too. That you're trying, that you want to get fit. And I tell you, the part of South Carolina I live in, a huge need for it. There's a huge market for it. So I'm working on that. I'm also working on South Carolina, the part of South Carolina I live in. There is no paintball. There is no paintball. There's no place to go shoot. You got to go an hour and a half out of your way to go shoot paintballs, to go paintball. So I'm also going to be working on having a place for people to come shoot paintball. I think once that gets up and running, I think it's going to be very lucrative. So there's that. There's also a couple YouTube channels I have in mind that I want to do. So yeah, these things, they take time, but I'm still a young man and I got plenty of time left. I got plenty of time. My clock is still ticking and it's got a lot more seconds to go. So there are things that I'm working on, and every year I get closer. Every year. And then I'll be able to spend more time showcasing what I'm doing. There's also going to be my my shop classes for electrical, but I also want to expand it. All right, I don't want it just to be electrical shop class. I want to also have plumbing, carpentry, roofing, lumber, woodworking, all that type of shit. So what I just have ideas. I don't want to say what my idea is for these workshop classes, for these shop classes, because you don't want to give everything away. So I got a great idea to really help kids and even adults learn how to build with whatever they want to build. So I got a great idea for it, something that has a lot of potential growth, and I got a lot of ideas. OnlyFans is a moneymaker. No, thank you, Dead Mike. I'm good. You can go and handle that. Lots of good eating. That's why they are. Yeah. There is a need for more healthy eatery, and a lot of there's a need for fitness to be pushed in the part of South Carolina I'm in. 22 says, I'm creative myself. Your book had great strategies. I appreciate that, 22 Ronin. Oh, just so y'all, I don't know if y'all know, man, I did write a book, and it is published on Amazon. I self-published it. So if y'all want to go check that out, it's called The Seeds of Dark Matter Disease. And it's on Amazon. It has, every review is great. So everybody that reads it thoroughly enjoys it. Hell, even Hassan Campbell's wife, when I was still cool with Hassan Campbell, they had bought my book. And shout out to them for that, because they didn't have to do that. Not only did they buy the book, they also praised it on the live stream. Like they talked it up. But it is what it is with Hassan Campbell. I used to be a moderator of his, and yeah, he did some wild shit that made me I had to pull myself back from it. But anyway, but his wife told me how brilliant the book was. Like she had called me and we were talking about it, and she was like, man, this shit is, the book is really good. Like, they were surprised that I wrote that shit. Like, a lot of people that read it are like, this is like a fucking you know, you don't expect. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they expect. I don't know what people expect when they pick up my book. I don't know what they expect about how good it's going to be, how well written. But everybody that reads it says it's a fucking very well written. A lot of great world building, a lot of great story development, a lot of great character development, a lot of good action, but not like senseless action. You know, action that has a purpose. So it's not a lot of just a lot of gratifying violence. There's a lot of violence that has weight to it. So if you read the book, you'll see every time there is a violent confrontation, there is weight to every single violent confrontation in that book. A lot of is just because I want it to be understood that violence for violence sake is not. There is never violence for violence sake, even if you don't understand the gravity of the violence that you committed. So let's say you committed some violence against somebody and you moved on, and you never saw that person ever again in their life. Everything that happened since that violence you committed against them, you don't know nothing about it. But guess what? Just because you don't know about it doesn't mean that the person that experienced that violence from you aren't going through a lot of shit because of it. So every violent encounter in that book has a lot of weight. Yes, Emmy Magnum. Yep, that's it. J. Wood Open Eyes said I had. Hold on. Shit, I can't read. I had to leave, but I'm back. Oh, that's what's up. Hey, y'all go check out J. Wood Open Eyes. Are you still doing videos, bro? I know J. Wood Open Eyes says I had a lot of channels taken down. Still trying to fix health problems. You know what, man? Email me, man. Email me. I know you're well versed in a lot of shit. You well studied and well researched, but I think I might have some ideas for what you got going on. Hit me up on my email, m.e.magnum. No, that's not that one. Not that one. It's snapzillagorilla@gmail.com. snapzillagorilla@gmail.com. 2 L's, 2 R's. So wherever there's an L, there's 2 of them. Wherever there's an R, there's 2. You know what I'm saying? For gorilla. I know it's not spelled that way, but that's how I like it. R-double-L. People are demanding a sequel. I know. There is a sequel. The sequel is in the works. I'm well over half done with that sequel. I'm well over half done with it. So yeah, that's something definitely I'm working on right now. Now I don't write as much as I want to. Why are we slamming our brakes? I hate that. Yeah, the sequel is more than halfway done. So once I'm done with it, I still have to get it edited. Now, I use an editor for the first book. I paid this lady like, what was it? $1,200 or something like that. And I didn't appreciate the work. I thought for what I paid her, it should have been better. I didn't like it. So it just, I need a good editor. But I did. I want to make the book a graphic novel, basically, which is just like a comic book in novel form. So I want to make it a graphic novel. So I did pitch it to somebody that I feel could help make that happen. So right now they are reviewing the book to see what level they're willing to invest in making that happen. So and shout out to these guys, man, for even entertaining it, right? Because they don't have to, because they doing their own damn thing and they doing a real good job with it. And this is an independent publisher. So, and they actually just started their publishing side of what they're doing. So It's just now that, I have a published work. They are reviewing right now. They're going through the book. They're going to review it. So like I said, I wanted to become a graphic novel. So what they're going to do is they're going to take a look at it, see at what level they're willing to, like I said, invest, and we'll go from there. And hopefully we can. And I also want to re-edit. I want to re-edit the book, and I want to do another edition. So I want to do a second edition to the Seeds of Dark Matter Disease with better cover art, with better editing, you know what I'm saying, and maybe a little bit of graphics in there, maybe a little illustration. And I also want to do the graphic novel. So, and I don't know if I want to do one graphic novel per book, or I don't know if I want to do like maybe 3. It just depends on how we can break it up. But those are my ideas. And so once I get freed up from having to work, right, do a 9-to-5 job, I'll have a lot more time to complete the second book. Like I can get that done. Because I feel like if I were able to sit down for a few, maybe 2 or 3 weeks with the sequel, right? It's going to be a lot longer. It's probably going to be twice as long as the first book. First book was like 300 some pages. I think the second book is going to be about 600 pages. There's a lot of content in the second book. A lot of different things happening, more characters involved, because the book has multiple characters from which you see their point of view. So there's different points of view from multiple characters. Some of them are in first person, some of them are in third person. So I like to kind of mix it up, because when you read a book and you are reading a novel like that, and it's being told in the first person of the character, you think, oh, that person's safe. You know what I'm saying? Oh, look, this motherfucker's safe, because it's being written in first person. So, but that doesn't mean they're safe necessarily. So it just means that you're seeing it from their point of view. They're able to tell you from their own voice what's happening. And then there are also some characters that you're going to get their point of view, but it's going to be in a third person. So they're not telling their own story. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a good little mix. So, I mean, yeah, that's just to keep the readers on their toes. Keep the readers on their toes. Who's safe, who's not. You don't know who's going to be safe. So that's, I'm very excited about that. I'm very excited. So if I can get me a couple weeks of free time, I can finish the sequel, I can get it edited, and then I can get it published. And hopefully I can get it published with the help of these cats that has the first book right now. Hopefully I can get it published by them and all that other stuff. Because of what they're doing, I appreciate what they're doing. I'm talking about the Rippaverse. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. Eric July, he has a YouTube channel called Young Ripper 59. Young Ripper. I think it's just Young Ripper now. But y'all, if y'all not familiar with him, he's just he does a lot of different type of content. A lot of it surrounding entertainment, politics surrounding entertainment, and politics in general. So Young Ripper, he started his own comic book company, and it's very successful. And so he decided to start a publishing thing. He decided to open up a publishing side of his company. So I reached out to them and I filled out their little questionnaire, and they said, okay, well, let me see your book. So I sent them a copy of the book. So now they're going through it, and we'll see what happens. So shout out to Young Ripper, man, for trying to help other creatives get their shit off the ground. The Chop Shop. Salute, bro. I found your channel a few days ago. Been cooking, fam. I appreciate that, Chop Shop. I appreciate that. I do my best, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, in this world right now where everybody is suffering from delusion and cult of personality disorder, I try to bring in something a little fresh, where hopefully get people to think critically. Hopefully get people to think critically with receipts. You know what I'm saying? Especially in the boxing world and all that shit right now. Like I'm such a big boxing enthusiast that it's hard to enjoy it now because there's so much bullshit going on. So I try to, you know, sometimes you gotta fact check shit. You know what I mean? Jay with Open Eyes 4 says, did you already release a book? No, the first one I published that. The first book got published in 2018. So I finished The Seeds of Dark Matter Disease and I published it on Amazon in 2018. It's available on Amazon right now. I think it might be $10, $15. I don't know. They change the price whenever they feel like it. They do whatever they want to the price. But the fucking ebook, you can get that for free if you have Kindle. So yeah, no, the first book has been out. The first book's been out since 2018. So right now the sequel, I'm working on the sequel right now. I mess with truth tellers for sure. That's what's up, man. 22 Ronan said, most black authors, more black, why not? Exactly. More black authors doing different types of shit. You know, doing different types of content that you know, being more creative, just showing the level of creativity and a level of originality. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's $15 there, Mike? Man, I don't even know what the price is. Because one day I'll check, it'd be like $7. Another day I'll check, it'd be $15. I don't even care. But I don't even care what the price is. I just want people to read it. I really just want people to read it and enjoy it. And take something, learn something from it. Who's Wakanda? He's the main character. Jay with Open Eyes says, I'm working on my own graphic novel. 2 is going to be very long story. Yeah. What I'm doing with mine is I'm creating an entire universe. So, you know how Star Wars and Star Trek, they have this whole universe. It was started by 1 or 2 or 3 individuals. And they created this universe that is so expansive, that has such intricate and detailed lore that other people can write about stories in that universe. There's enough material and content for them to use elements of the universe to write their own story based on what's going on in it. So that's what I'm doing. So the first 3 books, or I'll say the first saga, right? Because I'm right now I'm focusing on 3 sagas, right? And the ones that I'm writing for right now, the books that I'm writing, the saga that I'm writing in right now is the middle, right? So it's the middle, it's the central events. So once that's done, once I'm done with that, we're gonna go back to the first 3, or the first saga, things that led up to the shit that happened in the second saga. And then after that, then we go into the third saga, which is everything that happened after the second saga. Kind of like what they did with Star Wars. I like that formula. What they did with Star Wars, what they did the first 3, they did the first trilogy was in the middle, and then the next trilogy that they showed was in the beginning. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm taking a page out of that book because I like that. So basically, and it's not a Star Wars-y type story, right? At least not yet. The first book, the first saga is very grounded, essentially. Grounded, I'll say. I'll just say it's grounded. And the first one is going to be less grounded. Like, you're going to see a lot more. It's kind of like a behind-the-scenes look at what is going on in the second saga. So what's going on in the first saga is happening a little bit before and concurrently with the second saga. So it's kind of like that. There's going to be a lot of overlap. just like there's going to be overlap between the second saga and the third saga. And each saga is going to focus on different main characters. So the middle saga is focused on Wakand, right, and the events surrounding his story and all that. And the first saga is going to focus on a different character. And then the third saga is kind of going to be like, okay, you're going to have, it's going to focus on a third different character, but also Wakand's character and the character in the first saga. So you're going to get essentially three perspectives, right? And it's not just about the main character. It's going to be everybody that's connected to that main character. There's going to be a lot of characters. They're going to have points of view that are connected to Wakand. So it's not just, you're not just getting Wakand's perspective the whole book. You're going to get his wife's perspective. So I think in the first is his wife's perspective, his perspective, and his brother-in-law's perspective. So that's what you're getting in the first novel. And then there's also the perspective of a couple of other side characters that are very important to the story, very integral to the story. So that's how that's going to work. But in the sequel, the second book of this saga, you're going to have more characters' points of view. So it's expanding. Every time that a book comes out, the world expands. And that's the whole point. So the world expands, and it's going to expand even more in the prequel saga. So the prequel saga is going to be more and more expansive. It's going to be way more expansive. And in that third saga, the sequel saga, it's going to be mad epic. It's going to be a lot of different shit at play. It's going to be crazy. I already have everything in my mind of what I want to do. I don't have a written outline, but I already know what's going to happen. But the thing I like about not having a outline is that I understand that just like in real life, you might have a plan in mind, right? But like you might plan to do something 2 weeks from now, but something happens that makes it not possible, right? Or it might change it, or your expectations about what's going to happen 2 weeks from now is different once you get up to the point where that happens. But just like, so in the book, I have an idea of what's going to happen down the road, but something might happen while I'm writing that changes that, and I'm gonna have to change course. So if I have an outline and I'm trying to stick to that outline, well, then I don't feel like it's going to be organic. It's like I'm trying to force something down the road to happen while I'm writing it, when it just doesn't make sense. Because now, once you start developing these characters and you understand, you get to know the characters you're writing about, and you understand their personalities, and you understand what might change them, what might not change them, and what, you know, they might do something that, okay, the thing that I wanted to happen down the road can't happen because this character just did something to fuck that up. And if you try to stick to an outline so rigidly, then you're trying to you're putting this character in a box, you know, and that's not organic to me. So to me, it's organic when I think that something's going to happen. I think this character might live, but things are happening and this character is doing shit that makes it doesn't make sense for that person to live. And so that the person can't live. It just doesn't make sense. Or the character is doing something that makes something down the line, it just can't happen now because the character did something. They did something to fuck it up, or they did something to change the course of the story. So that's why I don't do outlines, because it's like, well, hell, this shit might not work. This shit not, hell, there might be a storm that day, or you know, they might get ambushed, or you know, somebody might cut their leg on a rusty nail, get a staph infection and have to get their leg cut off. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody might a little simple shit. You don't know what's gonna happen. Like in real life, you don't know what's gonna happen. Anyway, I know I'm ranting now, but is there a zombie virus? No, it's not like The Last of Us. Not a zombie virus like that. No, you got to read it. It's not. They explain what it is in the book, right? And they don't necessarily call them zombies per se. They are disease though. So the idea of a zombie is like, okay, a zombie is dead, the living dead, like they died and came back to life. That's a zombie. These people did not die yet. They're not dead. They're not dead. They're diseased, and they're driven mad by the disease, but they're not zombies per se. They're not zombies literally. Exactly. That's the reason why I stopped doing outlines. I'm always changing up. Yeah, I mean that's real life. Yo, I'm grinding, emailing you, my phone. That's what's up. I got you, Jay. But yeah, man. So yeah, just like I had plans for the end of the year, and some shit might happen where the shit might not work out by the end of the year. I might have to wait until spring or something, or summer. You know, so you just got to have patience. You got to understand that not everything is going to happen the way you want it to happen every single time, right? And that's what needs to be understood about the government. coming back to that, you got to understand that nothing happens that's supposed to happen when it comes to government, right? Nothing really happens in your favor when it comes to government. Government is not here to make your life easier. Now it gives you the illusion that it is, right? Because you have all the creature comforts. You got electricity. You got a decent infrastructure. It needs a lot of maintenance. It needs a lot of upgrading right now. Let me tell y'all something, man. The infrastructure, like a lot of the things with the electrical grid, the infrastructure needs a lot of work. All right, I got 41 minutes left of my trip. 37 minutes. The infrastructure needs a lot of work. It needs a lot of upgrading. It needs a lot of reinforcement. That's just reality. A lot of these bridges, a lot of these roads, a lot of the electrical grids, a lot of it needs to be rebuilt, reinforced, upgraded. And government is very slow to do anything. So even if they allocate money toward infrastructure rebuilding, it takes a long time for that money to get to where it needs to make that shit happen. Because I can tell y'all right now that I'm working on a project where there's infrastructure money in it. And remember, Biden, they in that bill, the infrastructure bill, a lot of money went to renewable energy, right? Solar panels and whatnot. We're building a solar plant, basically, a plant that's going to build solar panels, and it takes a long time for money to get, for them to pay money. So the company that they contracted to build these solar panels, they have to have their own money. You see what I'm saying? They already have to have a shitload of money in order to attract contractors to do the work. So the contractors are private. Understand that. So even if the government is paying for shit to get built, they're not building it. They're hiring private companies to build it. So what they did was, there's this South Korean company that builds these solar panels, and they had to build the plant. In order to build the plant, they have to hire contractors, right? They hire a general contractor, and the general contractor hires subcontractors. The subcontractors want money. They want to get paid every month. They don't want to wait 6 months, because that's how long it takes for the government to pay. If you're on a government contract, it'll take. So the South Korean solar company, they are the ones that are building the plant. The plant is theirs. They're the ones who are going to build the solar panels and all that shit. But they're building it in America, and they're using American labor. So they get credits and stuff for that. They get credits, so they'll get a lot of tax exemptions for that. Yes, they'll get a lot of tax exemptions, and that is what is attracting them to do it. It's not because the government is paying them in a timely fashion, right? They'll give them tens of millions of dollars, of course. Matter of fact, the project itself is like $300-400 million project, something like that, some crazy amount, $500 million. And well, they're not going to give. They're not paying this South Korean company. They're not paying them every month, right? They're not paying them every month. It's like a 6-month payment plan. It's like 6 months. They get paid every 6 months. But the contractors they hire, they want to get paid every month. So my contractor, the contractor I work for, bills the general contractor every month. But the general contractor has to get the money from the private company that is the owner of this plant. So they already have the money. You gotta have your own money if you fucking with the government. If you're in a government contract and they're supposed to pay you to do some shit and you got to do it, you better have some capital. You better have a good little nest egg to pay for shit, because they're gonna take their sweet time paying. And if there are changes made after certain revisions of the plans and all that stuff, so every time there's a revision, so your contract that you sign to do the work is based on 60% of completed drawings, for the most part. 60%. So you come in at 60. That's what you bid on. You bid on 60% drawings. That means that is 60% engineered. But there's going to be changes constantly being made. So there's going to be a lot of revisions. And then you get the IFC drawing, right? So the IFC drawing is the one that you start building off of. So you bid on the 60%, and you start building off the IFC, right? The IFC is initial funding contract, basically. So that is the one. That's when you start building. It's for construction. Initially for construction. So once you get that IFC drawing, you start actually doing the work. You start doing the work. And then after that, you're going to get mad revisions. Every time you get a revision and there are changes made to your scope of the contract, they have to give you a change order if the change costs more money for you to install than original. So if they change something in the original installation was cheaper than the revised installation, they have to do what is called a change order. They pay you the change order to do the change order. So they got to pay you for the extra hours, they got to pay you for the extra material, and they got to pay you for overhead, and all. Just a lot of things factor into it. So these change orders, basically, these extra fucking things that you're doing, a lot of the times when the government is involved, they want you to do a lot of shit for free. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning, they don't want to pay you to do the changes. And if you already installed the shit, but you got to take the shit out and reinstall it or move it somewhere else, or move shit or upgrade it, or reroute something, a lot of times they're gonna try to get you to do that shit for free. And this South Korean private company are going to do the same thing, because they know that the government is probably, now they'll understand, depending on what you got going on. See, there's a lot of money in these projects, a lot of money. And so these change orders, you can get paid out the ass for it, but the general contractor and the owner, they're going to want to get the most money out of it, even though you're doing the work. So it's a whole game. It's a big ass game when you are doing contract work for the government. When you do contract work for the government, they are slow to pay you, but there's a shitload of money, and they have to use that money. They don't use that money, they gotta answer for a lot of shit, and the money gets diverted to something else. So they want to keep that money in that project so that they can eat off of it. So yes, they don't want to pay you a lot, and they don't want to, well, they're slow to pay you, but there's a lot of money in it, and it's taxpayer money, and a lot of it is printed money. So they feel like the government feels like they have endless amounts of revenue with which to throw their weight around, and they only feel like that because they understand they can extort the shit out of you and get away with it. Legal extortion. Jay with Open Eyes said it makes sense because the U.S. has old buildings that stayed, never had to be rebuilt, because there's never the center of heavy wars, Europe, which is why there is never, okay, I can't, my bad, I can't read, I don't want to fucking crash out, so I'm not going to try to read that necessarily. But anyway, that's all I got, guys. Thank you all for coming through and hearing me, rant and rave about the government once again. I got to come on here and do that every now and then. I ain't lost track of what I started this channel for. You feel me? Anyway, thank y'all for coming through. I got a 6-hour drive tomorrow. Oh my God, fuck, bro. So I got this convention tonight. It's from 2 to 7. It's from 2 to 7. Then I got to get up early in the morning and drive 6 hours, damn near 7 hours, back to South Carolina. That is going to be fucking fun. Fuck. Anyway, I might do another live stream tomorrow, so y'all be on the lookout for that. Anyway, y'all stay fit, stay free, keep your mind free, and remember, we got to keep marching forward toward freedom.